Well, I am very excited. If you can't tell, this is our third day of admin week. I love my admins. So hopefully everyone here is an admin. If you are not, that's still okay because you're still going to get some information, some tricks, some tools, some strategies for you to use for your business. But just know that this week has been focused on admins and helping them raise adoption, have more confidence in the platform, different ways to leverage it, things like that. So lots of good stuff today. So today is our third session, and we are talking about business analytics, and we're going to talk about creating some workflows. Creating workflows is near and dear to my heart because there is so much that you can do in kvCORE. And so it can be overwhelming to know what to do when. So I'm going to help you strategize with like, okay, just like we have for agents, like what should I do every single day when I log in? And we do have a whole success meetup on that. What's like a yearly thing that I should do, setting your SMART goals. We have a webinar on that too. So same thing for you. What are things that you should do every day or every week? And it does definitely depend on kind of what your role is in admin. So I definitely want to hear from you what your roles are. I want to make this valuable for those of you who are here, not just me talking at you. So definitely bring in some questions, but I've got plenty of examples to work through. So we're going to start with business analytics and then go into creating some workflows with daily, weekly, monthly, and then quarterly or yearly, more like check-in, housekeeping, overall health kind of things that you should do. So business analytics. Business analytics are it's the data that it can allow agents have access to this too, but they'll only see themselves as admins. You can look at the data from all the scopes that you have access to. So company admins, you can see the whole company, or you can narrow down your focus to an office team or an agent. And same thing, if you're an office admin, you can see your office on down, team admin on down. You get the idea. So those are in the bottom left of your kvCORE. So we have a couple different sections in here, and some of these are even downloadable, which is super cool. So we have your pipeline, which gives you a visual representation of the progress of your database and the outer reaches from your sphere all the way to completed deals and transactions. There's also the source performance. So this is a very important component. It's going to show you where your business is being successful, how those different sources are converting for you, how long are they taking to convert. So, you can actually see, okay, if I have a lead source that's only giving me 5 leads, but, 4 of them are converting, not a bad lead source. That'd be an amazing lead source, right? So that's
For sure.
maybe referrals are that high. So yeah, different things like that. um, the kvCORE activity is going to give you a breakdown of what kvCORE is doing for you and for your agents, and also some insight into where there's room for growth. Consumer interest is going to show where the visitors are coming from. So it's going to show like where have they been generated from, where are they coming from. So the referrer leads them to the capture page. So, okay, this is internal. So most of these things are coming internally from kvCORE into, okay, imported or smart number or things like that. But it also shows like what properties are being looked at within your kvCORE websites. So company website and agent websites and team websites, they all kind of filter up into the data here, which is cool. Agent performance, which is where we'll spend a good chunk of time, is going to show how often, what ways agents and admins are leveraging kvCORE. So are they logging in? Are they generating their own leads? Are they following up with those leads that are in there? Are they connecting with their new leads specifically? You can also, just a little side note back to our lead routing from Tuesday, you can also see from here who's in or out of rotation based on the accountability settings. And this is where you can place them in or out of rotation. So let's say Daniel, he just told me he's really overwhelmed and doesn't want new leads right now. I can just place him out of rotation and then remind myself with some kind of calendar reminder to put him back in. So be cautious here. If you're putting people in or out of rotation, they do not automatically pop back in. So on Monday, we talked about the accountability, how they can go in or out of rotation automatically based on the settings that you put. But here, they don't go back in. So he's going to be out until I or another admin go and put him back in. Second little note, he's not going to know. The automated portion, they get notified. The agent gets notified, admins get notified, everybody gets notified. But here, he has no idea. So just with a word of caution, he can come here and see himself and notice that he's out of rotation. So he might have questions about that. But hopefully, if you're putting someone in or out of rotation, there's some form of conversation happening with that.
But a little time.
A little bit. And last little note here is that this rotation does not affect their ability to get their own leads. So this is only like company generated leads. So, which is where the lead routing roles come in. But I just wanted to be clear about that. Agent success, this is a little bit higher level of what we just looked at. And these are just really important key performance indicators. This is what we look at when we're looking at the health of an account. Really high level, where is there room for improvement? So we'll be spending some time here as well for sure. We've got excellent logins here at the company level. Go us. These are all very impressive stats. Um, and we're going to walk through a little bit later what to do if these numbers aren't where you want them to be. So I know this first overview has like been really fast. It's kind of the idea. And then we'll do a deeper dive of them as well. So, it can help me see not only at a higher level, whole account wise, but even a specific agent. So like AJ here, he's managed to do all of the things without actually completing the agent quick start course, which is not normal. So maybe he has an assistant, or maybe you were doing training for them in the office. So he got all the info without needing to take the course, but that's not very common. Usually they take the course to get that stuff, get that knowledge. If you do have some add-ons, you might see some additional options here. So you might see Core Present if you have a Core Present add-on in your account-wide package. You might see Core Back Office Reports if you have that additional add-on as well. If you're interested in those things, reach out to your account manager. They're very cool. All right, so that was our quick little whirlwind for you. So now we're going to slow it down, and we're going to look at what we can do with these reports. If these numbers aren't quite where we wish they were, what do we do about it? And this is going to be helping our agents, right? Not just helping ourselves, but how do I coach my agents to have a better business and have better usage of kvCORE? So a lot of these reports you can download. So I want to point that out as well. It does depend on the scope that you're using. So for example, individual agents, if I look at, if I were to look at just myself here, I'm not going to be able to download the report. The thought process is probably that I have my own report, so I'm not entirely sure why, but that download button is now gone. So when an individual agent is looking at their own report, or if you are scoping down to an individual agent, you can't download the report. So that's just something to point out. And so as you're going through these different sections, you can download them to give you an idea of like over time what's been changing. So source performance is the only report in here that you can actually change the time frame for. Everything else, as you look at it, it's the last 30 days. And so source performance you can change. It also defaults to the last month, but you could say, okay, for the last year, for example, and let's update this and see what's been going on with everything. So this one you can update, but other things you It's all for the last 30 days. So let's say I wanted to see what's been happening with my agent success over time. So as we talk about workflows a little bit later, I want you to think about how often downloading these reports might be in your personal workflow. I like to suggest at the end of the month, coming in and downloading these reports, especially because agent performance here is going to show me, okay, on the 30th of the month, who's out of rotation. And if I'm consistently seeing agents out of rotation, then I might want to do some training on that. I might want to just take them out of rotation. I might want to make sure that they know what they're being held accountable for, or maybe they don't even know that I'm generating leads for them. So why would they care if they're in rotation, right? So if I'm seeing that a lot of my agents are out of rotation by the end of the month, I need to help them see the value in continuing to be in rotation for whatever the reason is that they are leaving my rotation. So
Mhm.
things like that. So when you download the report, you click download report, very simple. Quick note, it will email this to whichever account you're logged in as. So I'm logged in as myself, so this is going to get emailed to me. But if some of you are like ISAs or for earmuffs, but sharing login information, so something like that, whoever, if you click download the report, it's going to get emailed to whoever's account you're in. So that's something to point out. Once it shows up in your inbox, it looks like this. So no reply, business analytics report, super straightforward. So I would, if you have not done this at all ever, add this email address into your contact list. This is what all of the email like notifications come from kvCORE. And so give it its own filter, add it to your contact list, make sure nothing important is accidentally heading to spam, right? I also recommend this for agents too. So if your agents are saying, oh, I'm not getting my notifications, things like that, this is a good thing for them to do. It links to your report. And really, it's just a nice quick download. So that downloaded for me. I'm on Google Chrome. So now it pops up into the top right corner. So you need to make sure, again, pop-up blocker is off. And then I can see my agent performance. So for me, I don't have Excel. So if I had Excel, I could open this up and start working it right from there. Since I don't have that, that's okay because I do have Google Sheets. And if you have a Gmail address, you too have a Google Sheets. So you can actually download these into your Google Drive and open that into your Google Sheets. So trying to open up my Google Drive and get us to a clean looking spot. So I just have a nice folder in here that says business analytics, right? To make it easy for myself. And I have my little download and you just click and drag. So it's that simple. I love it. Once it uploads, let's see, what's the one from today? There it is. I can double click and open with Google Sheets. So you can keep track of these over time. So I would go in and I would probably rename this because I'm never going to know what that means again. Like I might give it the name. I might go in and uh, maybe keep all my agent performance in one folder and keep all my agent success in another folder. Or I might combine them so they're all in one big file, like put the date down here and then download my next one and put it on another tab. Whatever you want to do to stay organized. But this way I can start looking for trends like, okay, who's in rotation, who's out of rotation. I can sort by different columns, which is really cool. So if I wanted to sort from A to Z here, now I can see, okay, here are all my people in rotation. Cool. That's right. We have like 500 employees, so I should have done this the other way. C to A. We'll get there eventually. Oh man, we have way more. There we go. So, I see my out of rotation, blurp, right? So I can see what percentage of my agents are in or out of rotation. I'm a big data person, so that, what can I see from there? Um, Going on the rest of the business analytics that we're looking at. Um, so if I notice that a lot of my agents are out of rotation, I want to make sure that they know what I might tell them what accountability settings I have set for them. Like, why are they getting in or out of rotation? Um, I might make sure they know the value of being in rotation. Like, hey, I want you to know that, Barbie is always in rotation at the end of the month. Like, she is actively in kvCORE, go Barbie. So, and she closed 4 more deals than you did this year. So, like, yeah, I'm not saying that's why, but maybe that's why, so yeah, maybe
That's why.
that's why. That's why. I mean, if they're all company-owned leads, then that is why. So, you know,
Mhm.
so you could look at things like that. Why are they out of rotation? Um, this actually tells you the time since they last logged in. So if you find that you're struggling with logins, you could do some kind of contest. So, for example, if you want them to log in once a week, you're helping them build that habit. You could actually check on this and, like, every Monday morning, come in and check and see how long it's been. And if they are logging in, maybe they get an entry to a drawing that you're doing for Property Boost, right? Maybe you are going to, whoever logs in consistently gets a drawing for a one-on-one coaching session with Heather, right?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of rewards that you can give them within kvCORE or outside of kvCORE, right? Give them Starbucks cards, give them a brokerage I worked at. The agents went nuts for sign writers like open house, or my favorite one was I'm beautiful inside. That was my favorite one. You can keep track of how many agent owned leads they're generating themselves. So, right, I have low numbers here. Let me help them figure out, okay, I'm going to focus on squeeze pages this month. I'm going to really make sure they know what squeeze pages are. I'm going to share with them the squeeze page articles that we have. I'm going to create a squeeze page and post that onto our business Facebook. Right. And I'm going to commit to doing that, showing them how to do it so they can do it themselves. Um, Watching part 4 of the Agent Quick Start together in our next office meeting, right? Looking at the data and seeing what's missing, and just focusing on one piece can really help you grow with your success. New lead calls. So we track if an agent is actually making phone contact with the new lead status. And so if I'm not seeing a high percentage here, that could be they don't know what to say to a new lead. They don't know what the notifications look like. So those could be 2 different strategies. Like, hey, let's all download the mobile app and set our notifications together so we know when we have a new lead. It could be showing them the dashboard where they see their new leads and showing them that they can make a call right from there. It could also be that they are making the calls, but they're not logging them in kvCORE. Huge star if you're taking notes. That is a huge, huge, huge thing that we see. Agents make phone calls. They just don't know how to log them in kvCORE. So if you know that your agents are making phone calls, but the stats here aren't reflecting that, teach them how to log their calls. We have a whole video on it. I think it was the very first success meetup I did.
I will put that in the chat. And if they don't want to log their calls, then have them call through the mobile app, and then
Mhm.
you don't have to log them at all. So there is logging calls that
Exactly.
aren't needed if they're using the app.
Yeah. If they use the app, it logs it for them. If they use the smart number, it logs it for them. So this is usually agents picking up their phone and calling like they're used to. And so they just need to log that activity. Otherwise, how is kvCORE supposed to know? And then overall, these are the calls and tasks that are being scheduled for them by kvCORE or by you. You can schedule tasks for your agents. And so, for example, Daniel has 13 calls that have been scheduled for him. That's great. That tells me he's got leads in here. That tells me there's automation turned on. However, he's not actually doing it, which is less great, Daniel. So maybe that's why I take him out of rotation. But so all these stats are going to help me figure out what my agents need help with. And I encourage you to start looking at, like, are there trends over time? Um, what's one thing we can focus on? Like in the quick start training, we really put an emphasis on, like, one, you never have to learn all of kvCORE. That's true for you. That's true for your agents. It's not true for me because this is my job. But you don't have to learn every single thing. So what's the one or two things that will help your agents really grow their business, and do an end of the year push for that? Do a new year push for that. Like if it's logins, let's get those logins up. Let's make login contests, things like that. Agent success is my other second favorite to look over when I want to know, like, where my agent's at. So again, who's logging in? Now this is higher level, so this is just logging in once a month, right? And you would be surprised the increase in productivity just from logging in once a month. My personal recommendation for agents is to log in once a week for about an hour, or to log in for like 15 minutes a day. That's what I really prefer because then I can work my dashboard, see my hot activities, really do that, but help them build habits to log in on a regular basis. So let's say I'm not seeing the logins that I want. We've already talked about looking at the agent performance, keeping track of, like, okay, who logged in this week or something like that. Another way to kind of get that up that I've seen, which is really fun, I had a sneaky admin go to these company announcements right here. These company announcements, they're editable only by company admins. So if you're a different level of admin, maybe ask your company admin to do this because it's cool. So what they did is they just came in and they didn't tell anyone what they were doing, but they just said, the word of the day is elephant. Please email or text Christina with the word of the day. Save. And that's all they did. They told no one that this was happening. And so as they started getting the word of the day, every agent got entered into a drawing, right? And so, like, it first started with just a couple people, and then it like grew from there. It's like, oh no, the word of the day. And so you could tell them what their prize is, like email or text Christina the word of the day for an entry into this month's drawing. Or, I worked at a brokerage who did yearly auctions for they did fake bucks. So like for every word of the day, you'd get like $5 of auction money. So things like that you can encourage them to log in. Once they're logging in, now we can get them to use the system. So I like them to log in and then work their activity stream. That's how I like to coach, because this is my hot opportunities. This is someone looked at a property. I've got a tour ready because I have a core listing machine. I've got calls that kvCORE served up for me. Let's get those call numbers increasing. So once I'm logging in, now I'm doing the things. So those are a couple strategies to help your agents just to log in. Now, I know that we can lead a horse to water, can't make them drink. So you got to give them a little something, something to start building those habits, help them out. New Year's coming, so that is always a good time to build up some good habits. Next up, logging in is number one key to success. From there, they want to have contacts into kvCORE, right? In the training, the quick start, we teach them to add just one person as a test lead. That would not mark this as complete, but it is definitely something to do. Creating contacts is considered 10 new contacts in a month. And if you're consistently adding 10 contacts a month, that's, oh man, I was about to mess up my math and say 300 a year. That is not the correct math. 320 a year. Oh my gosh. Heather, I'm going to make you do the math off camera. So 10
Maybe what's
contacts
the
a month,
question?
120. Wow, math is so good. Uh, if you add 10 contacts a month, you have 120 contacts in a year. I said 300 at first, and that was wrong. I knew it. I knew it instantly. Oh, I'm
Well,
embarrassed. I'm just going to fan myself. I'm so glad this is recorded and going on YouTube. So, so you want to have contacts in here. Now, there's two main ways to get contacts. There's importing your contacts and creating new people. For those of you who are just starting out, personally, I don't care which one it is. You got to, I say do them both eventually. Pick one to start with. If you notice that, your agents are coming from another CRM, they have a whole group of people they can import. Um, Sit together with them and do our 10 by 10 challenge, which I'll show you in a second. I love that 10 by 10. I think we have a success meetup on
I
that.
just put it in the chat.
Oh, perfect. You knew where I was going. There's also, Marielle has done one on the import process from start to finish. I know is somewhere in our archives too, if you want to pop that one in.
Doing it right here
Yeah,
now.
yeah. You're so good. I love it. So, imports, some of the blockers that we see with imports are, especially for new agents, I don't think I have a database to import. So why would I do that? So a great way around that challenge is to go to the bulk import process. And we have this gather your contacts. I'm not going to go all the way through it because we have a full hour on it. But it's really cool, this 10 by 10. The idea is think of 10 sources, 10 places where you've met someone, and then quickly think of 10 people from that place. And we even have ideas for you. So no one's starting from scratch. So you could do, okay, people who rent a home, people who own a home in my neighborhood, people who are my immediate family. For me, that already be about 100. So those are three of my
I
10. And then
I
I
have
think of 10 people.
97 people on my Christmas card list.
Nice.
That goes right in. Christmas
Yes.
card list right
Yeah,
in.
done. Yeah, exactly. So this is fun. I would do this as we're thinking about workflows. This is something that would be really fun to do every quarter with your agents, right? 10 by 10 method. We are meeting people all the time. It could even be monthly. I do, yeah, I like monthly too. Like sit down, look at your calendar. What did you do this month? Who did you maybe meet? I think that's a good idea also. So if you're struggling with those lead import numbers, definitely gather those contacts. I would also recommend you yourself getting, doing that 10 by 10, downloading your Gmail contacts, something like that, and then talking to our lead configuration specialist, right? Because you can ask them, okay, what are some common questions? Here's my file. So I know my agent's file will look the same. What needs to be changed, that way I can pass that information on to my agents. If you're You can also just keep this handy. This is a link, so you can take that link yourself and you can email that link out to your agents, right? So I can take this link and I'll put this into the chat. But this, hey agents, our goal is by the end of the year to get our leads in. If you download your contacts and then need further help, have this free one-on-one appointment, right? In case I haven't said it, it's free and one-on-one. So I love that. Heather, you also help with imports, correct?
Yeah, so in Done For You services, if you order our setup service, which we do a lot of things, one is just kind of configuring, it's more for your agents. So if your agents, this is a great thing to maybe raffle off for your agents or something like that. But we definitely get all their SEO pages set up. We put special campaigns in for them, situational campaigns, and we configure their website the way they want it. And then on top of that, we will kind of hand hold them through an import. Whereas if they give us their spreadsheet, I'm going to go in and be like, okay, this should be a hashtag. This should be the source. This should be that, and really configure it so it goes in the most beautiful, beautiful way that it can. But you can definitely talk to our lead config people too for free. And if that's all you're doing, just definitely talk to them if you have questions, because they can really guide you, especially if you have that. I would come to the meeting with your spreadsheet, because they can just say, hey, you have two columns that could go either way and, really think about what you should be doing here. And these are our statuses versus what the statuses you have on your spreadsheet and that kind of stuff. What makes sense to you to switch over?
Totally. And then for those of you who are super brave, you can actually submit this for your agents. So I love this. This is something um, I usually work more with like accounts at launch and then kind of sprinkled in throughout time. So the accounts that I see that launch really successfully and then continue to have good numbers, admins can do this for your agents, right? Because this is potentially a blocker, right? I can't use kvCORE because I don't have any contacts in here, or I'm too busy to do this. If you do this for them, blocker gone, right? So if you're really brave, you can do this for them. So you just say, okay, I am an office manager or I'm a broker. So whichever one applies to you. Tell us the country that you're in. And then this is the key part. Who should these leads be assigned to? This is who is actually responsible for working the leads. And so they could be your leads. They could be multiple agents. Like if you have a company lead source and you're downloading, exporting all the contacts from there, and then they're assigned to different agents, you can do that in the spreadsheet. Or you can say, Heather has given me her file and I'm going to import this for her. Very, very, very important. The name here has to match the name they have in kvCORE. So if their name is Dan in kvCORE, I can't put Daniel here. Our team will reach out to you for clarification, but that's just another like stopper along the way. So you definitely want to make sure you have it correct as their name is in kvCORE. And then ownership. So Heather talked about ownership in the lead generation, lead routing. And so this is who has visibility and ultimate control of the lead and the contact. So assignment is who is responsible for making those phone calls and closing that deal. Ownership is who has visibility and who can I can reassign this lead if I want to, things like that. So if you're doing this for your agent, they are probably the ones who own the lead, but just wanted to walk through those things with you. You can even, power them up with all the automations and all those things, which I won't go into because we have a whole webinar on it. I could spend an hour on it and I won't. So that's if you're struggling with imports, those are all really good suggestions. Work the 10 by 10, let them know that this is here, even send them the link, go through the process yourself so you can answer some questions. And if you're really brave, do it for your agent so that way that blocker is done and gone. Back to our analytics and our success. Our next thing here is engaging with those contacts. So it's great to have contacts in here, but you got to do something with it, right? Fortunes in the follow up, we all know that. And so this engagement is going to count how many of your agents have engaged more than 30 times with their contacts. So this can be calls, texts, emails, replies, so like actual conversations being logged. So one, logging their calls, right? That can really help here. Logging the call or using the app or the smart number, as we said, definitely help here. Other ways to help with this engagement. We went over this yesterday, but provide content for your agents to send, like that newsletter. If you create a monthly newsletter, either the template or actually create the newsletter itself and have your agent send that out, that will get this engagement up. Also, you can think about the automation, right? The automation that's going out is designed to get that engagement up as well. So we're going to sidestep into our kvCORE activity, which is my third favorite place to go. I'm nerding out over here. So I hope you're all enjoying this too. So the kvCORE activity, as we mentioned, shows what kvCORE is doing for you. And it also shows you trends. Is this an increase or decrease in the last 30 days? This one is not downloadable at the company level. I don't think it is at the office level either. No, this one is not downloadable. And so our lead nurture, we want to see these numbers going up, right? So our big three, as we talk about, are search alerts, behavioral alerts, smart campaigns, and market reports. So just kidding, they're over here. Search alerts, market reports, smart campaigns. So the nurture automation, the search alerts, these are people that are being sent properties. And the more people are being sent properties and then are viewing those properties through your kvCORE website, the more behavioral alerts are triggered. Smart campaigns are going to be starting conversations as well. So these are all different forms of nurturing that's going on. Engagement, these are the things that your agents are doing. So the number of phone calls has decreased over the last 3 months. Why is that? Are my agents checking out because it's the end of the year? How can I encourage them not to do that? Should we do a dialing for dollars hour? Right? At a brokerage I was at, they used to do that. They would come in, they would call through lists of contacts that they have. That would be a great thing to do to get your engagement up. You could suggest filters for that, right? So you could look at your smart CRM and look at some filters in here. So, hey, tonight's dialing for dollars, these are the filters we're going to call. I want you to look through your new leads who have a phone number, and I'm going to apply that filter. And let's look at the people who have never been called. And we're just going to start calling through this list. So you can um, if your agent then either hashtags them or saves this as a filter, they can pull that up on their mobile app. Even better, because then they don't have to log the calls. So that's cool. They could also call through up here. So I could click my person. I can click my to call and either complete or log the call. And one thing that I love is this little next button. So I've made my list of people to call. Now I've called them and I go to the next person on the list and I call them too. So if you're noticing that your agents don't have a lot of phone calls that they're completing, you two ways to kind of well, three to combat that. One is giving them some suggestions of lists of people to call. Like go to your smart CRM, look to see who has a phone number and see who's never been called. Go to your smart CRM and see who's been on your website in the last month. Go to your CRM and see I don't know. Heather, do you have another idea? I suddenly drew a blank, but there's a ton of people that I could or should call in there. We have some scripts in our
Oh,
help
yeah.
articles about cold calling. So, like, if they feel like it's a cold call, we do have some scripting help for that. We also, in my opinion, if someone is on one of these things of automation, it's not truly a cold call because you could be calling them to talk about the search alert, right? You could be calling them to talk about the market report. Like, hey, I just sent you a market report. Are you interested in that area? Let me know if you want to adjust it. So to make phone calls, I really like to look at the lead detail. If I'm not sure what it is that I want to say, a lead detail record will give me lots of insight because I might see, oh, I'm all kinds of zoomed weird. There we go. Okay, they looked at this property a while ago. Hey, what caught your eye about that property? Oh, I see I no longer have a valid email for you. Oh, what a bummer. What's your new email? That's always going to go well. I just like to pretend it is. It could be, we do have tons of scripts also in our support articles for core video and for voicemail drops. So you could easily take those scripts and kind of use it to make a call, kind of switch them over a little bit. And I also like to look at any of their automation here and see if something is missing that I could have a conversation with them about adding. So, like, there's no market report. Let's talk about that. There's no search alert. Let's talk about that. So, there's always something to talk about, especially if you're doing things like sending them newsletters as well, because Newsletters can have salesy and local things and fun things, and there's so much content in there. Just call them and talk about that newsletter. Hey, I'm revamping my newsletter for the next year. Like, did you look at my last one? What did you think about it? What do you want to see moving forward? So there's all kinds of reasons to call people. I just call people for fun. um, Hashtags can help you call people too. I like to hashtag with personal things as well as business things. So, like, hashtag wine lover. Well, I'm going to call you and talk to you about this home down the street that has this cool wine cellar in it. So, helping your agents
But
make calls.
also set up a date-based campaign that reminds you to call people on their birthday or their
Yes.
home closing anniversary.
Yes, absolutely. Love that. Um, yeah, totally. That's a good
Because I mean,
idea.
birthdays are great, but I love, I get text messages, but it's just me. I would rather someone call me. And I try and call my friends on their birthdays instead of just sending the hey, happy birthday text, like
Uh-huh.
checked it off my list. Like, no, I'm gonna call and talk to you because it's your birthday. And
Mhm.
and just so you know, I think a birthday phone call is more appreciated, and yet you probably won't get them anyway because they'll be so busy on their birthday. And that way you didn't have to, say anything, but blah blah blah. So I highly recommend the birthday phone call.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a, yeah. Uh-huh. Now I'm thinking about birthdays. It's my nephew's birthday today. He didn't want a party. He's officially that age. He didn't want a party. He's going to Disneyland. Okay, I
Well,
guess you
I'd
can
rather
grow
go
up.
to Disneyland than have a
Right.
party.
I know, that's true. I'm like, I don't blame you for that at all. You don't want to hang out with your aunts and uncles. Okay, fine. Anyway, that's my life. So engagement, those are different ways that you can increase those. So phone calls, help them with coaching, help them with logging, those calls, text messaging, and emails. What I like to do here is one, search alerts, or excuse me, smart campaigns, which we'll look at in a second. But two, you can really help your agents by looking through the available templates that we have and kind of picking out a couple of your favorite. So that's something that I do. And you could then send that in a text or an email. Hey, agents, your tip of the week, try to find an audience to send this email to. Find an audience to send this text to. So there's so much content in here that, it's a double-edged sword. Like, there's so much content, but there's so much content. So, you can also make templates as we went over with you yesterday too for your agents. So, for example, I'm just going to search in buyer and type in the word buyer and see what we got. We have 35 emails for buyers, right? That's a lot of options. So I might follow up with, okay, some of them are repeats, so I feel better. But I might, okay, I like these two as great emails to send to people on search alerts who haven't actually looked at a property yet, or even people who are on search alerts who you haven't called in a while, right? Anything, right? So these are people both looking at properties. So this is an offer to go look at properties together next week. Maybe don't send that this week because next week is Thanksgiving for our US people, but buyers still in the market. So these are two really good emails. And so you could suggest to your agents your favorite templates of choice, right? Hey, I am loving these two templates this week. Send it to this filter of people in your smart CRM. Right. And they're like, oh, what's a filter? And it's very exciting. You can send them an article on filters. You can do a quick video of what a filter is, or things like that. Um, yeah, so help them find their way through these text messages, through these emails. Make your own, make some branded ones like Heather showed off yesterday. So really cool things to automate, which is what we definitely want. We want to look at these unengaged leads. So if I'm finding that my agents aren't engaging, if their percentages are low, if they just aren't getting calls or tasks scheduled for them, they probably have high numbers here of unengaged leads. So you can see this directly in the Smart CRM. You can also just click this tiny little arrow and it will take you there too. So if I want to see who's not on search alerts or who's not on market reports or who's not on smart campaigns, I just click this little arrow and it takes me to the Smart CRM. So I know now that in my account, there are
Yeah.
31,000 contacts not on Smart Campaigns. Whew. Okay, so let's set some goals, right? Let's do a 10% improvement by the end of the year. Let's dive in here and go to more, excuse me, not more filters, and let's look at my agents for a coaching moment. I can go to my assigned users, and let's say Heather is coming in for her coaching session. And so I'm just gonna pick one. We've got a couple Heathers. And let's see, Heather. Let's see. Let's okay, 29. Oh, but 29 out of 30. So right? But they're mostly clients, so I'm gonna let that slide, Heather.
They should be on every single person should be on a listing alert, whether it's a client, whether it's
Mhm.
anybody.
Yeah, I think I did smart campaigns. Yes,
Yeah.
I did smart campaigns. So, yeah, everybody should be on a listing alert. And so you can look at this and see as a company or a team or an office, where do your agents need some help and how can you help them? We have um, we have both a course on every way to add search alerts, but then there's one more new way that I know Heather did. So and and then I believe we did one on the market report updates too, because now you can mass add those, which is awesome. And then we have a million things on smart campaigns. And so word of caution with smart campaigns, you do want to be mindful how many people you add at one time. Like, I don't want to add 300 new leads to the same campaign at once, but I would add 10 or 15. And then I could add 10 or 15 clients to a campaign and 10 or 15 active leads to a campaign all in one day. But I wouldn't add like 100 people to the same campaign on the same day, because then if there's any scheduled calls, I'm now going to have 100 calls in one day. So just a little extra tidbit to think about there. All right. With those search alerts, I do want to show you just really quickly that new feature that we had. I won't go all the way into it. So what we've always had is the ability to add a search alert by adding a hashtag. And so if you pre-create this, but now you can also name it, which I am just a big fan of that. You can also adjust the email subject line, huge fan of that too. And then you can scope it, which has always been here, but I just wanted to point that out. So this search alert I can make for myself, or I can make it for the whole company or whatever my entity is. So if I see a lot of my contacts are not on search alerts, I can say, hey, agents, I've gone ahead and made these 3 search alerts. And so as you're doing your follow up, if you think they, or if you know they live in Orange County, apply the Orange County search alert. If you find out they're interested in coastal homes, add the coastal home search alert. So you can kind of do that work for them. Additionally, as we're in the smart CRM, you can see all of those things for company owned leads, right? So if I look at my contact owner and I look at my company owned leads who aren't on a smart campaign, then I have work to do, right? So this can go into my workflow. Oh, good, none. No company owned leads, not on smart campaigns. Cha-ching. So I would want to think about, if I have company owned leads, how often do I want to check in on those leads? And what information do I want to check in on while I'm there? Do I want to make sure they're on those automations? Do I want to just put them on automations if they're not already on there? Do I want to reassign them if they haven't, if there's been no contact? So as you're thinking of your workflow, how often do you want to check on company leads and whether or they're not they're being worked the way you want them to be worked? And then what's going to be the consequence of that? Am I going to remove that agent from further company owned leads? Am I going to add a task for that agent to then come talk to me about this lead? Am I going to take this lead and add it to a pond account? So as you, and this will all be different depending on how your company, and I keep saying company, but as your organization, handles your leads. This will also be different depending on how many leads you're generating. This will be different based on yeah, as I know some organizations, they generate leads just so that way they have that value and that it's up to the agents to work. And I know other organizations are very involved. I put a lot of money into these leads, and if my agents aren't working them, I want to know so I can reassign them. Neither is right, neither is wrong. They're just different. And so if you're the more hands off, then this doesn't need to be part of your workflow. But if you're more hands on, you might check your leads every day. You might check your leads like twice a week. Um, I would definitely suggest making some saved filters in here. I love save filters for helping agents figure out a workflow. So if something you want to check in on is just all company owned leads or team, uh, save that filter, and this will be my company leads. And then I like to put in here when I'm going to work this filter. So, like, if I'm going to work this every day, I'm just going to tell myself that I'm working it every day. And then I know, okay, there's my daily filter. Cool. Here's my weekly filter. Here's maybe I do this on Mondays. So I'll put a Monday in there. So I really like to make it affectionately idiot proof.
Yeah,
Go look at my filters and like, what am I doing
make it
today?
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I also want to do you mind real fast showing them where to get the new campaigns? I just put in the
Oh yeah.
we changed up all of our default campaigns about a month ago. If you're older than a month, you still have the original ones, but in the kvCORE library, you will have the new ones, which is core. They're all called core. And these are great to, first of all, get into your all your agents to do it. But if you have just a whole list of all these leads that are still marked new and they're over a month old, the core prospect buyer or seller campaigns will be perfect. And you can rest assured that if they're still new, that means there's been no contact with this lead. And you could put them on that for the next year and try and wake them up. So this is a good thing that an admin can do to without fear, knowing that it makes the campaign will make total sense. It's mostly for a prospect, meaning they're over 30 days old. But if they are still in new status over 30 days, you could just switch them to prospect and it will automatically trigger this campaign as long as you have it pulled it from the library over into your campaigns, but or you can just add them to this campaign. But either way, this is a great one for like the you could have years of new leads in there that have never responded, and that would be a great one to stick them on. Just want to
That's a
stick that.
yeah, that's a great idea. Heather, for the new cores, do they move to prospect at the end of 30 days
Yeah,
already? Okay,
that's the new thing. So after 30 days, they're not really new anymore, but they're not active because they haven't spoken to you. So we switch them a little bit backwards to prospect,
I
and
love it.
then the prospect campaign go on for the rest of the year to try and still get them to talk to you. And when they do, from either new lead or prospect, if there's any incoming communication, it will switch them to active lead automatically.
Love it.
For your agency.
So while we're here, this is a workflow activity that I like to do on a yearly basis, and it's reviewing my smart campaigns. And so this is a little less applicable if you haven't made any of your own campaigns. Um, but you could still do it. And so I like to come in here and look at my campaigns. And hopefully I don't lose you. I just got a weird alert on my computer. So, and you can tell the last time a campaign has been edited in the top right corner. So if you open a campaign, it shows you the whole history and when somebody edited it. I also I like to put it right in my description. So then you don't have to even open it. So I could say last edited 11/16/23 by those are my initials. So I can do that as well. So if you want to open it, it is on the top right corner. But if you don't want to have to open it up to see that information, you can just edit the description. And so I like to do that every year. I would especially pay attention to date-based campaigns that I might have. If I did, like, for example, we have a holiday date-based campaign for both US and Canadian users. And so We have a support article about that, and it says right in the campaign, like the dates are for 2023. Please edit them for 2024. Um, I built that. I might have even put a task in there, but I am not sure if I did that or not. Let's just
Hey,
check. Nope, that's yours. That's not mine. Um, yes.
I think the one thing we maybe missed today was, did we talk about the accountability rules? Should we touch on that today?
Yeah, let's do it. So there we talked about them, but I didn't show them off. So yes, let's do that. So in
We
each
had a question in the
office,
Q&A about, distributing leads and not letting them quote unquote go to waste. And so I just thought a good thing to do would be to talk about that
yeah, I love
accountability so you're not wasting your leads.
that. Yeah. So
In the
each
few minutes we have left.
office is going to have its own accountability rules for lead routing. And so if you are a company admin or an office admin, you can edit this. Team actually also has their own accountability settings now that I say that. So you go to the entity, whichever you're looking at, and then you click to edit on the right-hand side. You could also click the name. Either one will take you there. So on the top right, now that I'm in the profile, there's office settings or team settings if I'm in a team. And so they both have this lead rotation accountability. So step one, Heather showed us on Tuesday that you can add your agents into the lead rotation, right? And she also showed us that sometimes people can be on that list, but they may have been knocked out of lead rotation. And today we looked in business analytics where we can see everyone in one spot, who's in, who's out. This is what actually places them in. Ooh, there goes a plate. It's fine, just a casual plate. Goes in and out of rotation. Um, so if these are on, so to the right is on, blue is on, these rules are in place as soon as you turn them on. And if your agents don't meet this requirement, then they are removed from rotation until the first day of the next month. So if today I failed to log in, then I am removed from rotation. The agent gets notified and the admins get notified as well. So everybody knows. And it even tells them why. Like you didn't log in, you didn't complete your task. So there's no guesswork. Um, our default, so just so you know, this is not what our default looks like. Our default is that, so every other day and 70%. Um, and you can choose to turn these off, turn them on, edit them, tell your agents, not tell your agents. It's entirely up to you. So today's the 16th, and I fall to 65% completion. So I am out of rotation until the 1st of December. And let's say I say, oh, dang it, that stinks. Okay, I'm going to, get my percentage back up, talk to my admin. As admins, you definitely want to think about your policy and if you're going to just add people back in or not. So there's pros and cons to both for sure. Um, Whether or not you're going to be really strict about that, or if you're using it more as a like acknowledgement, fix it, okay, we'll put you back in. But I do recommend if there's more than one admin in your organization who has this same level of access, that you're on the same page for sure. And you could also change these. So I do like the idea of like starting maybe at 50%. Like if my agents are just not logging in and not doing anything, I might change this to like once a week and 50%. And then once we're hitting that, okay, we're going to increase this. The other thing that I want to point out is, so let's say I, fall to 65%, put them back, and I do nothing to fix this. I get lower and lower, or maybe I just keep it at 65%. I get put back into rotation on the first, but since I'm still at 65%, I just go right back out. So, like, you're not going to, if the people aren't improving their stats, shoots them right back out. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the top one too, I just wanted to point out to the person who asked the question before, if you're like, hey, I need them to make the phone call, right? At least one, if they're not making that phone call to that new lead, then guess what? They're getting out of rotation. So you're not wasting those leads.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also redistribute leads. So if you find that they're not being worked, we did that on Tuesdays. Just a quick, I'll do a quick one. You can redistribute the leads either to a specific agent. So you could transfer this lead to a specific agent. You could rerun this lead through lead distribution, and or alternatively, not and, but alternatively, you could put them into a pond. So pond accounts are super cool. Pond accounts have their own set of um, accountability in here. So I know we have some training on pond accounts, but here would be the accountability for the specific pond. Teams, in what we just looked at, their settings, they have one additional option. And if it's that your agents are not following up with leads and you get to say how many days, you can choose to automatically add leads into ponds. That is a team exclusive feature, but I think it's really cool. Um, and there's different accountability settings here as well. And this is per pond and it's per lead. So if I claim 5 leads and I only add a smart campaign to 2 of them, I keep the 2 and the other 3 go back into the pond. So very cool. All right. So that is kind of it. We've been talking about kind of workflow ideas as we went through today. So I encourage you to think about what is something that you want to do every day. If your job is to redistribute leads, this might be part of your workflow. First thing when you log in the morning, you come and check on new leads. Anything older than 30 days, make sure they're moving into prospect. If you're on the old smart campaigns, any redistribution, things like that. Some weekly ideas. Think about some training topics, and you can use your business analytics to help you figure out the key topics that your agents are needing help with. You can use our training topics. You can come here. You can, share out our recordings, things like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this
Yeah,
oopsies
love it.
playlist in the chat, but these are all of our success meetups we had in the past. Hey, just pick one of those and make everybody watch it.
Yeah, I do that. Or you can even pick a support article. There's 200 articles. Each article has multiple tips in it, So, there's your daily tips just right from the articles. Um, every I also like to do monthly. Oh, something we didn't talk about is games. Keep it exciting for your agents. We made like a Jeopardy internally that was really fun. So we did like kvCORE Jeopardy or kvCORE Bingo, like make bingo cards with the different tools and encourage them to go for bingo or go for blackout or things like that. Look at the agents that you want to coach, right? Look at their business analytics. Is someone slipping? Are all my agents in need of help in one area? Can I how often am I going to look at the smart CRM with them? Look at the smart CRM with them. Look at the business analytics with them. And I love this because showing this to your agents, if you have lead privacy on, which is our default, you can also help your agents see like my leads are private. And I love that. And for you as admins, you can still see things like, okay, but who is not on a search alert? And even though I can't see the actual lead, I'm still getting important data and I can still see the agent assigned, which is cool. Quarterly or monthly, think of content that you can make for your agents. Yesterday, we talked about creating PDFs that you can do like for landing page destinations, or how often have you updated your custom pages? Do you have any seasonal things on there that need to be hidden until the next season comes around? Help your agents brainstorm about monthly or quarterly blog post ideas. And finally, yearly, go through that SMART goal webinar that we did. I really like it.
So
I think it's good to help them like use
stick that
kvCORE
in.
to set their SMART goals. So cool.
Oh,
All
wait,
right.
wait. Don't close it down until I find
Okay.
that. I went to the wrong spot to find it. That was a really great one. I have two. I actually have the mid-year SMART goals.
Hmm.
So we'll do that. There's
And then
my
there's
cat.
like, all right, any other questions? Heather has to go because I talk so much. We're now over on time. Any other questions? Any other workflows, job roles that you want to talk through?
Oh, here, always here. This is for everyone. There you go. And I think there's one more. I'll stick it in there. All right. Well, let's let everybody know that we're not here next week.
Oh, good
Um,
call. Yeah, we are not here next week.
we are taking Success Meetup's taking the week off for Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
So
US
everybody,
Thanksgiving.
US Thanksgiving. Everybody have an awesome, awesome Turkey Day if you celebrate.
All right. Well,
All right.
I'll hang out for a minute.
All right. Bye, everybody.